This is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with Jon Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. We are here for Wednesday's 7-game main slate. James, pretty good matchups here. We do have the 10 p.m. game on this slate here as well. A couple of them to name after losing out on the 10 p.m. game on the Tuesday slate, which I guess didn't turn out to be too bad of a thing because Damian Lillard ended up being a late scratch in that one here. But on this slate, some notable matchups here, starting things off. Cleveland, Washington with a 234.5 game total there. Toronto, Charlotte, Golden State, Philadelphia, 237.5. Atlanta, Boston. Boston still at home here, 244.5 game total there. San Antonio, Miami, 223.5. New Orleans versus the Clippers, 234.5. And Detroit versus Sacramento, 243.5. Those are our two 10 p.m. games. When it comes to those players that are in and out, we know Joel Embiid's already out. LaMelo Ball also ruled out already. But, given the slates we've had with the amount of questionables and injuries, like this one's more straightforward than it feels like we've had. Obviously, there's still plenty of time, for injuries to pop up and for injury reports to come out. But, kind of a clean slate when you scroll through the top, half of the player pool.
Well, you went and ruined that, so let's get ahead of that. You obviously, the problem is you say that, but then Draymond Green, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Zion and Cade all questionable, all in the 10:30 window.
Right.
So, but also pretty big altering news that is going to be 3 hours after the first 5 games start. So it's
how legitimate do you think the Zion questionable is? I know he played 22 minutes, obviously, against the Raptors in that game. Has played, I wonder if he's actually in danger of missing this game or not. But you're right, 10 p.m. start, right? So
I also think worth mentioning, worth looking at least, no back-to-back. Don't play. They play Friday, so
yeah, back-to-backs for the front legs here. We have Detroit, and it is Detroit, Cleveland, San Antonio, Golden State. Those are your front legs of back-to-backs in this slate. San Antonio always terrifying when they're on front ends of back-to-backs here. So those are the matchups we got. Let's just get into it. We go position by position here. Point guard position, your top price point guard is Donovan Mitchell going up against the Wizards here, $9,900. Steph Curry, 95, Maxey, 94, Trae Young, 91, James Harden is $9K. It's also worth at least noting before we do jump off here, we are now a day away from the trade deadline. So as we inch closer to Thursday, definitely player statuses need to be a bit more paid attention to, and you should be aware of any sort of late news that may come about as these deals do continue to get rumored and worked through.
Yeah, so I'm all aboard Donovan Mitchell if this game can stay competitive. I don't know if it can. Cleveland blows everybody out. They just blew Sacramento out by 26 at home. Donovan Mitchell had 29, but he didn't play the fourth quarter. Yep. So, Donovan Mitchell's having his literal best year of his career. And the Cavs are in second in the East, and people want Donovan Mitchell to be traded. It's insane. But Donovan Mitchell, if you think at all can stay competitive, I would want as one of my primary spend-ups. Obviously, you can get to Curry. He's been a lot better of late. No Draymond possibly here. So maybe more offense flowing through Steph Curry. The shot attempts and the makes have been amazing. Just took another step back in the peripheral department last game where no steals, no blocks, just 3 assists. 40 fantasy points at 9,500 doesn't get it done. On the flip side, obviously, we have Maxey coming off a really, really, really bad game. Massive foul trouble, blowout. I expect a better performance here. We've talked extensively about how bad Golden State's been defensively. So I'd be good getting to Tyrese Maxey here, 9,400. I know the price is going up. I know that this is a very tough game for Atlanta here. Undoubtedly so. There's literally no reason Trae Young should be $9,100.
I agree.
Not like if this game is, and this is the part like where I like I've got in here the last few slates and been like, I don't care about blowouts. This is like a price where if they lose by 30 and I play Trae Young at 9,100, I'm okay with that because he's gotten for 50, 48, 65, 52, 54, 55 fantasy points. What makes him a $9,100 player?
Yeah, I mean, 240 plus game total, the 11.5 point spread. Yeah, if it's a blowout, it's a blowout, but you got to price them appropriately.
Agreed.
Against Boston in their one meeting this year, he had 33 actual 50 fantasy points. So yeah, I'm with you there. I think that's a little bit too cheap. And then you have Harden here, 64 fantasy points for Harden last time out against Atlanta. I mean, he continues to roll.
Yeah, just on the trade, one more on the thing on the trade point. Drew Holiday questionable, so might not even have. I mean, he's obviously, if in that case, he'd see Derek White, but like Boston's luxury is that they can throw 2 all first NBA first team defenders at you if you're a guard, right? In White, and so just throwing out there. Yeah, Harden coming off a big game. I don't love the 9K price tag, but like can't ignore it if he's going to go for 64 and 53, 57 and 3 of his last 4. So.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Moving to the under 9K tier. I mean, dude, De'Aaron Fox is now $8,100.
It's getting cheaper. I know it keeps going down. And it's
again, he's one game removed from 63 fantasy points and 46, and he's down $1,000 since the 46. They dropped them 100 here, and it's home versus Detroit. I mean, sure, Sabonis is going to be set up for a good game here too, but you're telling me De'Aaron Fox at home here can't get me 40 against the Pistons?
Do we worry if Cade sits and Bojan sits that this game stays competitive, or is it just Sacramento? It doesn't matter because Sacramento.
I don't believe. You say like I don't believe in blowouts. I won't believe Sacramento is capable of blowing out anybody. I've seen them give up. I mean, the Suns aside, like we've seen them give up leads time and time.
Yeah.
What did I tell you? I sent you a screenshot the other day.
You bet it the other day.
I live bet the Bulls twice. They were before halftime. I live bet the Bulls +9. And then Sacramento closed the half on like a 14-2 run. I then live bet the Bulls +22.5, and they covered both of them. So they almost won that game. They almost won that game. Never mind covering the 22 and the 9.5. They almost outright won that game with how poorly Sacramento played in the second half. So no, I'm full in on Fox here. On the flip side, I feel the same way about Cade. If Cade was to play in this game, I would have no problem playing him because Sacramento just lets teams hang around, and Cade Cunningham, obviously we've seen have a ceiling. So, happy to go there. One of the best matchups all season long have been guards against Charlotte. I know Immanuel Quickley there, 24 minutes in the blowout loss, but had 41 fantasy points the game prior. I feel like we'd be more likely to get a similar production there than we did in the last game.
Agreed. I think Quickley's in a really good spot. I mean, second leg of a back-to-back after double overtime. Brandon Ingram hit.
We called that one, right? Like the letdown game there.
And then Brandon Ingram literally scorched earth, hit 5 threes in five straight possessions and ballooned the lead out of control, So chalk it up and move on. But yeah, I think Quickley's a good tournament play for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Working our way down the list here, more towards the 6K and under. McCollum's still 69. I think that price is fine. Then if Zion sits even better, but I wouldn't shy away from McCollum at $6,900, even if everybody is healthy. Celtics guards are down here. Podziemski continues to look pretty good at 6K. Where are you going in this mid and value tier?
I expect Pod to get some good ownership here, especially if Draymond's out. Like just more things funneled to Pods. 37, 34, 39, 38 minutes. Did not lose a single minute. He actually closed over Klay Thompson, and there was dialogue with Klay. How he's like, yeah, it sucks not to close games, but like, what can I do? Like,
and there was a tweet just came out that currently the 76ers are the leaders in the betting markets to land Klay Thompson if the Warriors were actually to move on, from him. And if you're
I like that, right?
Right?
If you get, I mean, it all depends. Obviously, like if you get Embiid back, if it matters, right? Like if it.
I mean, he helps space the floor for sure. It's clear. I don't know if Steph would want him gone. Because Chris Paul's also been rumored to be moved, and I guess it would depend on what would come back. But
Right.
It's clear that there's been a drop off on Clay now. So, he's sat the last 2 games to close out those ones. So, Podziemski's been really good for sure. Tyus said $5,900, really tough spot for him. So I don't know if we would trust going back to there. Trey Jones, 5,700. Miami on the second leg of a back-to-back, but they won in easy fashion against Orlando. We had that one pegged wrong. We thought Orlando was going to step up a little bit more, and nobody hit shots other than Paolo pretty much in this game. So what are your thoughts further down as we work our way? Like Ish Smith is 43. Monk 50, 54, Beverly 55. Like, what's your thoughts?
9 straight wins for the Heat against the Orlando Magic now.
Makes sense.
They cannot win. I mean, Malik Monk played 24 minutes in a game they lost by 26. He continued to shoot the ball well. He had also had 5 fouls in that game. So I expect the minutes to continue to be there for Monk. This is another ceiling spot. 54 there is fine. Hey, man, 34 minutes for Ish Smith is kind of notable. I don't it's hard for him to have any type of ceiling when Brandon Miller has 35 and Miles Bridges had 41 in that game. Like they had 77 points from 2 guys. Not that Ish Smith is like out there shooting a lot, but 4 for 9, 8, 6, 2 and 2. Like that's an Ish Smith-ish line. Pretty good spot against Toronto. But it also depends on Cody Martin because Cody Martin had been starting at point guard.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume with Cody Martin questionable, if he returns, that's Ish Smith to the bench. So I think it's contingent in my opinion if Cody Martin plays.
Okay, yeah, no, I think that's fair. Let's move on over to shooting guard.
Wait, what do you make of Lester Quininos 24 minutes again off the bench?
I mean,
even with Moody back, even with Pods, even with Clay, I guess Wiggins coming back could hurt it, but that's what we thought the other day. And then
I'd rather play Jaden Springer. So I feel like you disagree.
No.
Or Pritchard if there's no.
Yeah, Pritchard. Yeah, Pritchard's fine. Pritchard would get extra run if there's no Jrue Holiday.
What's Springer's price at now?
35 shooting guard.
Shooting guard only. Yeah. Similar price, just different position. I thought he was point guard. I guess they took away his point guard eligibility. Was he always only shooting guard?
I think he's been shooting guard only for a little bit now.
Maybe I'm confusing over on FanDuel. Probably has dual. Over at shooting guard, Jaylen Brown, 8K. We talked Donnie Mitchell already. 8K is a good price for Jaylen Brown against Atlanta. I like that one. You got Brandon Ingram, as you mentioned, broke the slate. 16 to 21 shooting against Toronto. Hit 8 threes. You and I were going through this one here earlier. What's your thoughts with on the top tier shooting guard?
I mean, Mitchell obviously elite. Jaylen Brown. You can get to anyone at Boston and it's appealing because Atlanta's so bad defensively. It's a big pace-up spot. Ingram has been really good of late. The shots are starting to fall for him, and he's starting to be really good peripherally too. I mean, he has slate-breaking upside. He's twice gone for 68 since January 17th, which is insane. But and he's still under 8K. We've talked about it a couple times. The Clippers could be the best team in basketball right now. I mean, they are technically by record, like over the last 30 games, they're 25-5. But like they can be scored on. I mean, they were just in a game that had 290 total points scored or 300 total points scored. So if the Pelicans are firing, if Zion were to sit, Ingram lock and load 7,900 with the way he's playing. But I'd still be okay getting there even with Zion in.
Okay. Are we just in on Toronto against Charlotte? All plays here.
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of where I'm at with it as well. What about the rest of the 6K tier of plays? Vassell, White, Hero, Ivy, Oubre, all in this group.
I don't hate Devin Vassell here. He's been super consistent of late. 30 essentially 36 fantasy points in all but one game since January 19th. It's someone that you've talked about a lot this year. There hasn't been like a massive, insane ceiling, but a good enough ceiling, good enough floor.
And the minutes are good on the back-to-backs. We just saw that, right? 36 and 34 minutes on the back-to-back. So, pretty locked and loaded in there. As we work our way down, you got Bogdan's here. Bruce Brown could be traded. Spruce hit a bunch of shots the other night. We do have the aforementioned Klay Thompson. Kevin Horder's at 5K. Gary Trent's questionable for this game, so that bears watching. Norm's 47. This whole group as we work our way into the 4K range.
Well, I'm gonna not skip over Jaden Ivey just in case we see Cade not play. Ivy has been playing pretty big minutes of late. Was really good against the Clippers. Really good spot. This is the front leg of a back-to-back, so that's why I think we're seeing Cade listed as questionable. They play Portland on Thursday, so I don't know what they prioritize. Do they want to be more competitive against Sacramento, or do they want to actually win a game against Portland, right? Or try to win a game against Portland? So if there's no Cade, Ivy stands out in a great spot against Sacramento. Everyone else, you met like Bogdanovich with a healthy Atlanta team. 26 minutes, like he's fine.
He's back to his usual role when he was playing like the mid-20s. If he gets hot, can put up points. So.
Yeah, Klay, still got 30 minutes, but just not
getting close. I don't want a guy that's not got close like that. So
Gary Trent's probable. This is a good spot for him to come back and bounce back and make shots. So I don't. Alec Burks minutes just like kind of cratered the last two games, but I guess. We don't know if he's going to be another guy who's going to possibly be traded there. I don't think Barrett's back. No Grady Dick. He's coming off a crazy game. We know Trey Murphy's going to start if Zion's out, right? So that's basically it. I don't think there's anything else. You mentioned Jaden Springer, but I don't.
Yeah, Moody played 15 minutes, so nothing really worthy of discussing there. Small forward, Tatum $9,600. Kawhi still under 9K. Scotty Barnes against Charlotte at $8,700. And then we've talked, obviously, Brown, Ingram, George already. So how are you breaking down the 8K and above group?
I mean, if you get to Tatum, 9,600, he's flowing right now. Three of his last 4 games, he's gone for 50. 7 assists or more in 3 of those 4 games. The rebounds have been there all year. And then when he's scoring... when he's scoring like this, it's hard to. I mean, he's one of the 5 best players in the NBA. So, Tatum absolutely can get to. I will say for $700 cheaper, you're getting same, maybe more consistent production on a night-to-night basis because Kawhi is just like fully back. I would say absolutely all the way back. So I'm down getting to Kawhi at 8,900. He's been in Terminator mode. Scotty Barnes, good spot. Still feels a little like, I don't know. Maybe he's happy he got nominated to the All-Star game.
Him and Trey both got the All-Star nod. So.
I mean, maybe that's something. He's just seemed at a place with his new teammates, like with Quickley and with Barrett and stuff. He just seems like he's deferring a little bit. And then we've talked about Jalen. So, I mean, I'm really bullish on both Tatum and Leonard for sure.
Okay. Next year's got a lot of guys we've been talking a lot about lately. Tobias Harris is 77, Jimmy Butler 76, Brandon Miller 7,200, and Jonathan Kuminga also 7,200. We'll talk about all 4 of them, but just highlighting Brandon Miller again. Another game where he was, kind of looking dead, and then you read off his fourth quarter stats, and he went 3, 3, 3. 2 free throws, 3
2 free throws again. It was crazy, dude.
And all of a sudden, it's like, hey, Brandon Miller's got 30 actual again out of absolutely nowhere. And it's exactly what he did the game before. Had 8 points going into half, and then scored 10 straight to start the third. And you're like, oh, right. So don't ever count this guy out. If he's bucket territory already at this point. Like he's one of those guys that if he starts hitting, he won't stop shooting. So. Great still price tag for him there. Kuminga bounces back, had a down game, quote unquote, against Atlanta, 16 points and fouls out of that game. 28 and 10 against Brooklyn, though, right after off the jump there in 33 minutes. We've been playing a lot of Tobias Harris without Joel Embiid. He's $7,700, another 40 fantasy points for him there. And then buckets against San Antonio. They're on the second leg of a back-to-back, so maybe that's something to watch for here. But tonight, Jimmy Butler, 23, 8, 8, and 3. Just sort of your vintage Jimmy Butler performance.
Of course. It's really hard not to like any of them, right? I would say all 4 of them. I cover Boyd Brandon Miller on the live stream. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So that's already out. So Brandon Miller is there. So love Kuminga. Thankfully, you can play him in multi positions. Harris is a nice cash game play, 7,700 past the illness as well. So, yeah, I'd get to all of them. I'd probably rank Butler last of the 4 on a back to back, but also he has arguably the best matchup of the 4. So it's really hard not to like any and all of them.
Yeah, agreed. Underneath 6K, Sadiq Bey 58, Keldon 58. 2 guys we haven't really talked about. Denny, talked about him. The minutes have kind of fluctuated, but he goes 10 of 13 against Phoenix. That's got to at least pop on your radar a little bit there. And then again, the value guys we've discussed. I guess if Wiggins was back, we'd look at him. Hunter didn't miss a shot.
Yeah, probable.
So what are your thoughts on the under 6K small forwards?
I don't know.
Don't have to play any of them.
I don't have like much conviction on many of them. Like Keldon didn't play a lot of minutes. Strus went nuclear the other day. Part of the reason why they blew him and Mobley and Mitchell were just like so freaking good. Dude, this team is just they're really freaking good. We'll see how that happens, how they work in a playoff construct, because that's what happened to them last year, where they couldn't run double big, but they are a great regular season team. Hunter was really good. He only played 19 minutes. So I just wonder what the minutes restriction continues to be. Because if he doesn't go 10 of 12, there is such a 0 at 5,400 potential, right? Like he was 2 for 5 in 16 minutes a game prior. So I don't think I'd get there if there's a minutes restriction. And I assume there is. Wiggins, he's fine. Harry B did it again the other day. Of course, every other day, Harrison Barnes, yada, yada. Let's move on. Harrison Barnes.
It's
so annoying, dude. It's so annoying. Yeah, you think it's hilarious. If Boyan doesn't play, Asar Thompson is going to play big minutes. He played 26 minutes, 27 minutes the last 2 games. So Asar Thompson, 4,400 would be a guy that I'm looking to.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Anybody else down here?
Marcus Morris, 24 minutes.
Love it. Power forward. All the guys we've touched upon already. Wemby's $8,800 now. Was over 9K for 3 straight slates. Didn't do anything to deserve a price drop. Is it just the front end of the back-to-back? Do we think we got a price deduction here, or what do we think?
I have no opinion on why, but it doesn't really matter. We play him 8,800 and we move on.
Yeah, I'm at a loss of words here. The man continually gives us 50 fantasy points and they're dropping his price. So you talk Miles, or we talk Brandon. Well, there's Miles, went for 41 actual. 49 fantasy points though.
Kind of an aberration.
0 rebounds come from what happened?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
No. This should have been 60, 70 fantasy points and you scored 41 when you're Miles Bridges. But I'm happy to go back there. 8,400, prices, if you're picking Wemby or Bridges, I imagine are you going Wemby there over Bridges?
It's Bridges is a better spot, but Wemby's just
we've seen 70 from Bridges here. So
maybe the floor, maybe it's Wemby and cash, Bridges in tournaments.
Sure. Kuzma, Porzingis at 75 against Atlanta feels pretty good. Johnson's there at 74. Zion at 73. We know the price tag there. And I asked you the other day, minutes went up a little bit on Mobley. Would we play him? We talked about it. I think we both agreed tournament, and he went another big time game, 11, 14, and 7. Back-to-back 40-plus fantasy point games. He's 7,100. 28 minutes seems to be the floor now for him. Like, what do you think?
I mean, he was supposed to be limited to 26 minutes and played 28.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming if they say 28, he's going to play 30, right? It's just like, and who knows how many he would have actually played if that game stays competitive. So 7,100 seems all the way back. Him and Jared Allen coexisting perfectly fine. Jared Allen had 40 fantasy points in this game too. So yeah, Mobley is really
if
good.
Cleveland ever gets rid of Jared Allen at before a season, I'm betting Mobley for like
every award,
most improved player, or whatever we could find for awards. I think he's a dominant talent there. Draymond is $6,300. Gonku is only 57. I know it is Boston, but he, did exactly what we expected of him. 18-5, gave you 26 fantasy points there. I don't know if he can do that against Porzingis in Boston, but he's there. Keegan 57. What's your thoughts on like this 5K tier for power forward?
I don't really have much thoughts. I like Ngannou, but I don't love him at 57.
Okay. What about Sohan? 54.
Hornets.
Okay. Anybody else?
Not that I see that we haven't mentioned already.
Sure. Center position, Sabonis is 10-1. Then a lot of guys we have talked about. We go down to Bam at 8K. Jared Allen, $7,600. Jalen Duran at 69. Top 5 or 6 centers on the board for you.
Sabonis elite in tournaments. Bam, I don't know. 8K, fine. Jared Allen, great spot, fine. And Jalen Duran, tough. Probably foul trouble incoming.
Probably foul trouble. I would agree with you. How do they deploy Valanciunas in this one? Because he played 20 minutes against Toronto.
I'll defer to you.
Okay. I'm going to have to pass. It's a great spot, but I don't know what they're going to do with him there. Speaking of great spots, Jakob Poeltl against Charlotte at $5,900. Played 28 minutes in that game. Good enough in the spot.
He's super good, and they just don't have front court depth. I guess Jonte Porter being questionable. I don't know if that does. I think when Jonte Porter comes back, he probably just takes all Thad Young's minutes.
Sure.
But yeah, Poeltl feels.
That honestly could be a contract and part of a deal, for Toronto. Yep. So, Nick Richards is 55. I don't know why the price is kind of continuing to dump on him. Rebounding are great. I know the scoring's been inconsistent. It's hard to shoot when two guys are taking 30 shots each, but good matchup for Richards here. Anybody else at center for you?
If Draymond sits, I mean, I assume Saric would start, but whoever the Golden State starting center would be like Saric. They played Gui Santos 20 minutes off the bench the other night. He basically played over Saric, over Jackson Davis, over Kevon Looney. So if Draymond were to sit, whatever the starting center is in that scenario would be.
Sure. All right, let's build a lineup. Larry Nance is the other one I want to actually ask you about. Thoughts on Nance here? 20 minutes. Coming back off the jump. He was one of the more popular value plays. He's still $3,800. Willing to give him a peek.
It's pretty low floor.
Daniel Tice.
I think he's dead with Zubac's back.
All right. Lineup building time. We liked a lot of these small forwards here.
Yeah, all of them. I don't know. Brandon Miller for sure.
Miller's in.
He's been super popular too every night, and he's been chalk. And if you haven't played him, you've just lost.
I'm just gonna, at least for now, plug in Poeltl because I think it's a good spot for him there.
I agree.
Point guard 61.50. Fox 81.
It's cheap. It is cheap.
Quickly
for sure. Pods. You can play pods at shooting.
Oh yeah, I was gonna play pods anyways. 6K. Power forward. We'd like to get Wemby here. Be a 5K and under for the rest of the way here. What's Richardson doing these days? 33 minutes for Rich. What did he play tonight?
He played like
27, 13, 3, and 5. He's still live. What was the other 3? We had some other 3K plays down here. Jaden Springer, I liked. Would you rather him or Quinos? You had to pick one.
I would Probably neither, but
it's just for some value, man.
Yeah.
Springer's been playing minutes. What are you hesitant about? What's the worry?
Worry is that you can play him.
Okay. Listen, I'm just trying to fit some money in here. We got $5,800. He's 35. You only need 18.5 fantasy points to
Yeah, he's fine. Yeah, he's fine.
5,800 for 2 final spots here. What are you feeling? Was there another under 5K play that you were high on?
I don't know. What do you got?
I mean, Gary Trent's here at 49.
Yeah, play Gary Trent.
And then is Trent only shooting guard now? Huh? All right, so we got $6,700 forward. Probably move Pazinski. Nope, can't move Pazinski down. All right, 5,700, 6,700 power forward. I mean, Draymond's there if he was the play or not. Let's see. What if we go down from Wemby then? Let's go down from Wemby. Let's go Bridges. Kuminga, Kuminga works. Where's Kuminga at? Right down there. 72. 83 for forward. For Jaylen Brown?
Yep.
There it is. Quickley, Pazinski, Miller, Kuminga, Pirtle, Springer, Brown, Gary Trent, $300 left over. That's your example lineup. Early look. Again, first look of the day here for the 7-game slate. James and I will be back live at 5 p.m. Eastern time, everybody. So check us out. Like the show, subscribe. We'll be back at 5 o'clock Eastern time. We'll see you then.